For Ella, who had grown up watching Federer transform tennis into something resembling art, less a contest and more a poetic exchange of precision and imagination, the outreach was almost surreal. The very player who had inspired her was now calling her the future and offering to help shape it. The tennis world buzzed with a particular kind of excitement. Federer mentoring a rising female star was more than a personal gesture. It hinted at something transformative for the sport itself. It suggested that the man who defined one era was ready to invest meaningfully in the next, and that he had chosen Ella as the starting point. What few realized at the time was that Federer had something far more tangible in mind than public praise. A physical symbol of belief that would soon leave one of the WTA Tour's fiercest competitors in tears before a room full of stunned onlookers who was preparing a gift, one that would become one of the most powerful gestures the sport had witnessed in years. During a private event connected to Lever Cup preparations in late 2025, Roger Federer surprised everyone in the room by presenting Alex Eala with a racket. But this was no ordinary piece of equipment. It was custom craft-drafted, accented in gold, engraved with a year of a breakthrough, and inscribed with a personal message written by Federer himself. Those present later described it as one of the most intentional and meaningful gifts they had ever seen in a sporting setting. This wasn't a ceremonial prop handed out for cameras. It was deliberate and deeply personal, a physical declaration of belief. Without saying it directly, Federer was telling her, "I see you. I believe in you. Carry this forward." Eala's reaction was immediate and unfiltered. She didn't offer the practice composure athletes often display in public moments. She cried real tears, the kind that rise from years of sacrifice, homesickness, lonely hotel rooms, early tournament exits, and quiet persistence on courts few people watch. In that single golden gesture, the grind of her journey was acknowledged by a 20-time Grand Slam champion. Witnesses described the silence in the room as almost sacred. Federer reportedly placed a hand on her shoulder and said softly, "Not for an audience, but just for her. You've already done the hard part. The rest is just tennis." The moment was captured on a single phone camera and shared online without fanfare. There was no marketing rollout, no polished announcement, just a raw clip released into the world, and the world responded. The video spread rapidly, fueled not by strategy, but by authenticity. Even those who rarely followed women's tennis felt the emotion. Many who had never heard Ella's name searched for her instantly. Filipino communities around the globe shared the clip with immense pride, recognizing in it something deeply personal and symbolic. Commentators called it the moment of the year. Former players posted emotional reactions, noting how her tears reflected the unseen weight of a young athlete's journey. Belgian champion Kim Clijers, long supportive of Ella's potential, praised her blend of technical skill and rare emotional maturity. But beyond tennis, the image resonated for another reason. A young Filipina athlete receiving a golden racket from one of the greatest players in history told a universal story of being overlooked, working in silence, believing without validation, and finally hearing the most respected voice in your field say, "You belong." It transcended sport and became something human, something aspirational. And as with any viral moment of this magnitude, not everyone responded with celebration. As the clip continued to circulate, the conversation began to shift. And what followed would test just how strong that moment truly was. What no one tells you about a breakthrough is that it doesn't arrive alone. It brings celebration, yes, but it also brings pressure, scrutiny, and a new kind of expectation that feels very different from the quiet ambition you carried when nobody was watching. After the golden racket moment went viral, Alex Eala was no longer just a promising young player building her resume step by step. She became a phenomenon. She was the headline. She was the future. Publicly anointed by Roger Federer in the most cinematic way imaginable. And with those 8 words came a weight only champions truly understand. The online conversation shifted almost immediately. Supporters who once celebrated her freely began debating what she needed to accomplish next to justify Federer's faith. Analysts started mapping out hypothetical Grand Slam timelines. Philippine media framed each upcoming tournament less as a normal stop on the calendar and more as a referendum. Would she live up to the prophecy? Would she validate the endorsement? Was she truly the future? Or had Federer simply been generous in the glow of an emotional moment? To her immense credit, Eala handled the shift with striking composure, the kind Federer himself built a career upon. In interviews following the viral moment, she neither exaggerated its importance nor downplayed it. "Tennis has given me a lot," she said calmly. "It's very nice to know that I'm doing what I can for the sport." She didn't try to turn the narrative into something bigger than it was, nor did she shy away from its significance. Instead, she acknowledged it, accepted the responsibility quietly, and carried on, understanding that belief, once given so publicly, is best honored not with words, but with work. She respected the moment, then returned her focus to the work that had earned it in the first place. But carrying the weight gracefully didn't make it lighter. Early in the 2026 season, Alex Eala met Coco Gauff in the quarterfinals of the Dubai Tennis Championships and suffered a tough 6-0, 6-2 defeat. The scoreline was stark, and the online narrative machine immediately roared to life. Had Gauff exposed her? Was she a one-tournament wonder? Had the golden racket moment been more emotion than substance? In the fast-moving world of hot takes, a lopsided loss is irresistible fuel. What those reactions ignored, as they often do, was context. On that day, Gauff was playing at a level that would have challenged anyone on tour. Eala had just navigated an exhausting Middle East swing and was now ranked number 31 in the world, a remarkable rise from number 140 only a year earlier. In the same Dubai draw, she had defeated world number 7 Jasmine Paolini, a result that underscored her legitimacy among the elite. One loss, even a heavy one, is a single data point in a career still unfolding. Yet, once Roger Federer had called her the future, every stumble was destined to be measured against that declaration. Every defeat became a referendum. Eala felt the scrutiny. Her team felt it. Her parents, Mike and Reza, who had sacrificed alongside her from the beginning, felt it, too. After an early exit at the Qatar Open, cameras captured a quiet backstage moment. Eala embracing her parents, not in despair, but in something more layered. Exhaustion mixed with gratitude, disappointment wrapped in resilience. It was the kind of embrace shared by people who have invested too much love and labor into a dream to let one result fracture it. Later, she posted on Instagram, expressing immense gratitude for those who continued to support her and the sport. The post resonated deeply, drawing even more engagement than her match highlights, because it revealed something beyond rankings and score lines: her humanity. The golden racket hadn't made Alex Eala invincible, it had made her visible, and visibility carries its own weight. But what transformed her journey from a compelling sports story into something almost mythic was what happened next as March 2026 approached, and she prepared to return to the Miami Open. There is something poetic about an athlete returning to the place where their identity shifted forever. For Eala, that place was Miami, the city where she stunned 3 Grand Slam champions as an unknown wild card, where Roger Federer publicly called to the future, and where, by her own admission, everything first clicked. But this time, she wasn't arriving as a footnote. She returned as the number 31 player in the world, seeded, expected to make a deep run, and tasked with defending the 400 ranking points she had earned during that breakthrough campaign. The expectations were louder now, amplified by a year of scrutiny and the lingering echo of Federer's endorsement. Yet while the conversation around her focused on pressure and prophecy, Eala had been doing something quieter and far more important: working. The discipline instilled in her at the Rafael Nadal Academy when she was just 12 years old had not faded with viral fame. Under the continued guidance of her coach Joan Bosch, her serve grew more assertive, her baseline decisions sharper, and her composure against top 10 opponents more seasoned. She had taken lessons from every loss, every grueling rally, every difficult draw. And somewhere among her belongings sat the golden racket, not as a trophy to admire, but as a reminder. A reminder not of what she had achieved, but of what she had endured. The early morning practices, the nearly empty junior tournaments across Europe, the homesickness, the grind that preceded recognition. When the greatest player of a generation places belief in your hands, you don't relax, you double down. The gift didn't reduce her hunger. It deepened it because now the responsibility extended beyond personal ambition. It was about honoring faith, carrying expectation with dignity, and proving that belief, when matched with relentless work, can complete the circle where it first began. Federer's endorsement was more than a personal vote of confidence. It was a statement about what tennis could be, what it should be, and what it might look like if a determined girl from the Philippines was willing to prove it. On the Seatown podcast recorded just weeks before her return to Miami, Alex reflected on her defining 2025 run in a way that revealed her character. I look back at that moment, and I just think, wow, it was insane. It's crazy to believe that actually happened, she said. Then, without missing a beat, she grounded herself in reality. In the end, being on the WTA Tour is my dream. It's to be a professional tennis player, and I'm living out my dream. Notice how she balances wonder with discipline. She acknowledges the miracle, then immediately anchors herself in the daily grind of professional tennis, the travel, the relentless training, the mental and physical demands of showing up day after day and striving to be better than yesterday. That is what Federer recognized in her. Not just talent, not just raw character, but the kind of person who can shed real tears at receiving a golden racket and still return the next morning to 4 hours of hard practice. Understanding that belief means nothing without work. As Miami Open 2026 approached, Alex was ready. Her journey from a wild card unnoticed by the world to the player Federer trusted with a golden racket and 8 unforgettable words demonstrates that the climb matters more than the crown. It is proof that refusing to let silence dictate your worth can lead to moments that are both human and historic. The tears were real. The moment was real, and the future. It is already here. If a story resonates, share it with someone who needs to believe in their own climb and join the conversation. Do you think Alex Eala will win a Grand Slam in the next 3 years?